I am with Kellie, the Game of Thrones historian. I am so excited to chat with you about all things Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. This is very exciting.
It has been a long wait for season three of House of the Dragon. How ready are you?
So ready. Like it almost feels like I can't believe we're nearly there. Like it's been a while. It's like 2 years, something like that. So it does go by slowly. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, it's in 2 months or something. So I'm very excited. Now it's about to happen.
Yeah, it's like all of a sudden it's like, okay, time to rewatch everything from the beginning to get prepped.
Yes. Yeah, I'm like rewatching my old videos. Like, what have I said about this? Can't remember.
Yeah.
It's been so
Oh my God.
long.
I love it. So I unfortunately we are not in the writer's room for this show. I wish we were. So we don't know exactly how they're splitting up the story in each season, but what's your best prediction for what season three will cover?
Well, it's tricky because there's season three is like there's so much action, and it depends on where they draw the line and then have season four. So I'm not 100% sure where we'll go up to, but this section of the story this season is going to be the most action packed. Like this is where everything is kicking off, like left, right, and center. So there's a lot happening. Like it's people say, the war of the Dance of the Dragons, it really does explode in earnest in this season. I'm assuming anyway, having not seen anything yet, but it just feels like, okay, everyone is going to just go crazy now and it's going to be no holds barred. So we should brace ourselves as the
Oh
audience.
man. I mean, I feel like we're always constantly bracing ourselves for anything to do with any like Game of Thrones
Yeah.
spin-off world, etc. But the best part of any adaptation is getting to see things come to life on screen. So what are you most excited to see or hoping to see this season?
Well, there is one moment in particular, but it might be a spoiler. So I'm going to hold that one back and I'll come up with something different because I don't want anybody to be like, oh, wait, what? We want everyone
Fair.
to be surprised. I think the way that it ended at the end of season two and the way that it's going to segue into more drama, more action, more battles, that's the thing that I'm most excited for and for what Rhaenyra does, more importantly, because that's my queen. So I'm like, okay, what are you going to be doing and where will you be? Who will you be with? And what are you going to be up to? That's the thing, because for me, Rhaenyra is the heart of this story. As much as there are the supporting cast is brilliant, so talented, and everyone's got their unique personality, shall we say? But for me,
That's
when
one
you
way to put
distill it down,
it.
yeah, it's just a bit. But for me, when you break it all down, it's about a woman being usurped. And that's the heart of the story. So I always look to Rhaenyra like, what are you going to be up to this season? Because it's going to be a lot.
I'm sure. And yes, I totally agree with that. I'm also very excited to just see where Rhaenyra is gonna go, and sort of see how everything is gonna go down in the newest season.
Yeah.
But that being said, and with I think all things House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones, you learn very quickly not to get attached to any one particular character.
Yeah. Story of my
Is
life.
is there any moment that you're dreading to see on screen that you have a feeling is coming?
Um, yes, but it depends on how they play it
Mm.
because House of the Dragon does differ on some aspects from the book. So it depends on how they go about it.
Mm.
But I think it's like it's the way that this is a pressure cooker and you've got dragons fighting dragons and loads of crazy stuff going on. But you also have like when you distill it down, just courtly intrigue and people still playing the Game of Thrones in the middle of a war. That always fascinates me because it's like there's craziness going on all around you, and there's still people trying to navigate through and play the traditional Game of Thrones. But I think what we're going to see is that it's all bets are off, basically. Like, there are no rules going forward in season three for
Oh man.
everybody, basically.
Oh man, yeah. So what's been your favorite moment so far in seasons one and two?
Oh, Well, there's a few. I really loved the moment where Viserys entered into the throne room in season one and was standing up for his daughter. The whole scene in the throne room with Daemon, with everybody watching, with Aemond watching in awe. I loved that whole scene. And Paddy Considine took a character that was
So good.
okay, but never a favorite. And now I'm like, he did such a good job with the way he was like staggering and could barely walk. I just thought it was so well done. And I can see why George R. R. Martin thought it was brilliant as well. Like he was over the moon with this portrayal. So that was a big one. But in season two, I really loved Rhaenyra with the dragons when she was speaking High Valyrian and doing a thing. That for me was very powerful to see. And I loved that moment where she stood and the dragons are around her and Aemond turns away and has thankfully has some common sense and realizes I'm not going to go and approach Dragonstone. I'm outnumbered. She's there with multiple big dragons. That moment really just, as an image, really meant a lot to me to see her standing in her power when a lot of the time Rhaenyra either can't or won't stand in her power. So it's nice to see someone standing there and putting up a bit of a fight and not just taking it. I think that's season three's vibe is both sides are really locked into the fight.
Totally. Yeah, and it is I totally agree with you. I think it is really nice, especially because like, we really only saw Dany in Game of Thrones with dragons, and it's nice to see kind of like all of the Targaryens
Yeah,
kind of be in their element with the dragons in this
yeah,
one. And we're so lucky that we have had like such a great cast to bring those
mm,
characters to life so far.
yeah.
Um, so like you said, there's a lot going down in season three. If you were to put together a survival kit for season three, what would you say people need to like gear up to watch season three?
The first thing is probably like a heart monitor or something just to regulate things because we are all going to be sat there stressed. Episode after episode, I can guarantee we're all going to be like, deep breaths, that was a lot. So I would say that. I would also say like a sprinkle of common sense as well, because I feel like the audience might be the common sense in the story where everyone else gets lost in the thick of the war. We're kind of watching objectively. And I think the third thing, maybe a fire extinguisher would be good because things are going to get spicy and hot and steamy and smoky. So, yeah, basically like your standard survival kit because it's going to be wild.
All right, everyone listen up, get prepped. Start packing
Yeah,
your survival kit
exactly.
now.
Like you think seasons one and two was drama, season three, from what I feel will happen, they're going to start with a big bang and it's just
Okay.
going to continue. It's going to be more and more intense as episodes go on. We'll all need a holiday after this season's finished just to process it all. It's going to be a lot, but it's exciting as well knowing there's a lot happening.
Yes, it definitely will not leave us bored, that is for sure.
100%.
I want to talk about the fandom around kind of everything Westeros. Can you talk about how you've seen the community like grow and change over the years?
It's been fascinating because I've been a witness to the community and a part of it. And I'm kind of lucky because I've created like a nice little community where we just talk about what we enjoy and we go back and forth on different topics. And it's always in a safe space, in a comfortable space. And we never take it too seriously because it's all fictional at the end of the day. But it's really fun to see more people getting into this community as more spin offs happen, as more books are potentially on the horizon. Who knows? Fingers crossed. And it's nice to see people dipping their toe into this community and it's growing. And sometimes fandoms get a bad rep, and I'm sure that every fandom has like aspects that are not amazing, but I've found that you really can carve out a really cool community of people who always will push you to think of something different and always like the comments I get on my videos, I'm always like, Oh, I never thought about that till now, but now you've got me down this rabbit hole, and that's my favorite thing. And it doesn't matter what experience you have, you could be a relative newcomer, and that's kind of what I do with my videos. We'll have some really intense deep dives, and sometimes we'll just cover something in a more lighter topic because not everyone knows all of the stuff. So I kind of try and sort of cater to everybody because there's new people joining the fandom every single day. And people are like, what's this about? What's that? I got you. I got you. We'll cover it all. It's
You
basically
do
like a
have
school.
everybody's back when it comes to anything lore related for Game of Thrones. And
Yeah.
especially because there is a lot to cover. There's a ton of
Yeah.
information. So it is so nice that people have people like you to really like break it down for them. And it is just
Yeah.
so interesting and
It's
fascinating.
it's really fun because it can be a lot when it's such a big story. It's hard to remember everybody and all of the storylines. And you've got the show, you've got the books, you've got different adaptations. That there's so much. This new potential film we're getting of Aegon's conquest. There's a lot, and it's hard to remember it all. So it is nice to be able to have this community where we all share our thoughts on it. And I love the little bubble that I've created. It's fabulous, and you meet some really amazing people, like genuine friends as well, which I didn't expect. That's the biggest surprise. Like when you enter into a community, especially when it's a virtual thing for the most part, it's hard to imagine that you would make like friends that you talk to every day about other stuff, real life stuff, and then oh, let's do a video about this together, and you support each other and it grows from there. And I've been really lucky to have a lot of people in my corner, and it's just a really nice thing to do, and I enjoy. It's why I keep on doing it. I think if I didn't enjoy it and I didn't like the space I was in, I wouldn't be able to put myself out there. So it's the bubble that I've created that just it works. Long story
Amazing.
short.
Amazing. So would you say that's like one of the best things about the Phantom fandom is that like everybody is so like welcoming and connected in that
Yeah.
space?
I think when you find your people, they can inspire you. So some of me and my friends will have conversations about stuff, and before you know it, we're going down these really niche rabbit holes, and we're all chipping in, like, well, what do you think about this, and what about that? And it becomes like a collaborative thing. Like we're all kind of throwing in our 2 cents, and that's what keeps it fun. And I think that's the main thing for me is if I don't enjoy it, I can't really like fake it. I have to be invested, and it's why sometimes I'll do a video about some character that appeared in like 2 episodes, but we need to talk about this person because it's important. And it's nice to go down all of these avenues, and there's just so much to choose from. It's like Sophie's Choice. Like, no, actually, I don't think it's Sophie's Choice. I think it's like there is a phrase I'm thinking of and it's not coming to mind, but it's like you can pick anything. And that's the creative side that I didn't realize I was a creative person till I started doing this. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense now in my brain. So I get a lot of enjoyment from doing these videos and from interacting with people and from watching videos as well. Like it's not just my videos, it's like all of the people in this community who spend so much time, and they'll watch an episode and they'll slow it down and they'll zoom in on the tiniest detail, but it's something that 9 times out of 10 we'll miss, we'll skim over. That's my favorite thing. Just when people take the time and you can tell they've got a passion for it. That's just I love it.
Yeah,
Could
there's
talk about it all
definitely, I
day.
think, a care in kind of the Song of Ice and Fire fandom of like every detail. And I love that it's kind of like you can reread something or rewatch an episode and find new things every single time, even if you've seen
Yes.
it like a
Yeah.
million times before. You're like, wait a second, I didn't put that
Yeah.
together before. Yeah.
Absolutely. It happens. Like, this is the thing. Even me, I still learn new things all the time. And that's what keeps it interesting for me. And there are people, characters that I change my mind upon. And sometimes I'm like, you know what? I might flip through their chapters in the books because I'm not feeling them today. It tends to be Bran that I do that with.
He is very
Sometimes
controversial.
yeah. Sometimes I'm here for Bran, and sometimes I'm like, not today, not today, Bran. So it depends on what kind of mood I'm in. But I like that your perspective can constantly change. And I think that comes back to these characters being so well written in the first place, because that's the basis. These brilliant characters are what we're so invested in.
Yeah, and what a gift to like have such in-depth lovingly written characters and stories that we
Yeah.
can dive into again and again.
And so many.
Yeah, absolutely. What's been the biggest impact that the world of Game of Thrones has had on you in particular?
Um, it had a huge impact on me when I first started reading the books, and I would read the books, and then I would finish, and I would start again, and I'd go through all five books, and then I'd go back to the beginning, and that kind of got me through some tough times in life, and it was kind of escapism, and I found a lot of people find that it is escapism for them too. It's nice to go into a different world and talk about other things. And that's a big part of why I think this whole story and all of the shows resonate with people. It's real human stories, but there's an objectivity. So it's nice to be able to step back and you take a break from real life, which can be a lot. So that's the biggest change on a personal level, because it's something that I leaned on, and then I decided, let's talk about this and share this thing I love with the world. And that's how I started making videos and what have you. And it's just grown from there. And it's actually made Game of Thrones, A Song of Ice and Fire, an even bigger part of my life. And it's just all been a good thing. It's been a good path to go on.
That's great. That's amazing. And so what does House of the Dragon mean to you, and how does it stand out compared to the rest of the stories that we've gotten from the world of Westeros?
Well, it's the ultimate tragedy, really. It's like, not to spoil anything, but I'm sure people have watched Game of Thrones. They know that for a time there were no dragons. So this is basically what caused that situation to be. And it's a situation where I want to shake everybody and say, you're messing up. Like, don't do this. This is all a disaster. But there's something kind of sort of Shakespearean about it, that maybe it's human nature to want to see this and see how it plays out. And especially with the situation all coming from a woman being usurped by a younger man, I think that's something that fires up the audience
Mhm.
massively. And it's very team green, team black. Everyone has their favorites, but it's, I hate to say this, but I do sit on the fence because I'm like, I can see everybody's point of view. And I understand why everyone is the way they are, but it's frustrating to just see this family clash when it doesn't need to be this way. And that's
Mhm.
sort of the most intense thing, is they could have just allowed Rhaenyra to take the throne, and we could have gone on about our day. Everyone is still rich. Everyone is, still dressed to the nines. You can have all the feasts you want. You can play on your dragons. It shoulda, woulda, coulda. It could
Yes.
have been great. But it wasn't meant to be, and it's why I think it's brilliant to have this Game of Thrones Shakespeare play that they're doing with the Royal Shakespeare Company,
Mhm.
because it's a match made in heaven. George R.R. Martin and Shakespeare go hand in hand, and that's the Dance of the Dragons. It's just a tragedy. It didn't need to happen, and it's frustrating. But I think it's important to shine a light on this, and I think, yes, the dragons are a big pull for people, but also the story of a woman who was skipped over when she wasn't even consulted in the first place. It's a lot of things happen around Rhaenyra, and that's typical, I suppose, in that medieval society. But it's her standing up and saying, "This is my birthright," and owning that. I think a lot of people can just root for her. I know not everybody, because we have a lot of team greens, but I think that is something that, for me at least, I'm cheering her on. Like, yes, go
You and me
for it.
both.
You've got this. Yeah.
I'm with you there. I want to switch gears a little bit because we're Loungefly. We have to talk about fashion.
Yeah.
Which family wins the fashion game in Westeros, do you think?
Well, I think it probably has to go to the Lannisters, because
Mhm.
they've got the coins. They can
Ah,
pretty much outspend anybody on the finest things. The only thing they don't have any longer is a Valyrian steel sword, but they've got all the diamonds and the gems and all the fancy outfits. And I think there's a natural sort of swagger to a Lannister, that it's kind of like you could see all of them walking the runway. They've got that sort of je ne sais quoi that other houses just don't have. So I think the Lannisters take it for me.
nice. Yeah, I can totally see that. Does Team Green or Team Black have the best fashion sense?
It's close because there are some of Alison's gowns that I would wear to the supermarket. Like I would wear every day, like gorgeous. But I love that with Rhaenyra and with Daemon, when they have more structure to their gown, well, Rhaenyra's gown and to Daemon's armor in season two in particular, that was sort of bulked up and it looked very Targaryen and very dynamic. I thought it was nice to see Rhaenyra with more structure in her garments as well, like a lot more around the neck and a lot of detail. And it's nice to see somebody just sort of stand there and go, yeah. I know I look good. I know I do. In the middle of all this drama, you've got to look right because you
Yes.
can't be turning up to war looking shabby. You've got to look the
No,
part.
definitely not. Do you have a favorite costume that you've seen in House of the Dragon so far? Is it Rhaenyra's or is there
Um,
another gown that you really love?
to be honest, it's probably young Rhaenyra when she is named as the heir. I think such a timeless piece, and it just it took my breath away when you saw the headdress and everything, and it was so ornate. That for me is just like definitive House of the Dragon fashion. Like it was just so breathtaking and like, oh my God, they've got money. They can buy the best of the best because that outfit still to this day gives me chills.
Yeah, I live in constant fashion envy when I watch House of the Dragon.
Yeah.
Is there any fashion lore you can drop for us?
I think my favorite tidbit is that Rhaenyra always wears boots, so she's ready to go. So she has, like, I'm sure, a wardrobe full of gowns and sandals and all kinds of stuff, but she chooses to wear boots, so she is dragon riding ready. And I mean, what's not to love?
I
Like, she is
love that.
prepared.
That's
Yeah,
amazing. Oh,
that's my
so
favorite
good.
thing. Yeah,
So, so
she's
good.
practical.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, you can't be shabby showing up to war, but you have to be
Yeah,
practical and ready to ride when it's needed.
yeah. Like, she needs some red bottoms on those boots, and she's
Yes,
ready to
please.
go.
My final question for you, given your knowledge of the story and kind of what we've seen so far from the trailers, we have, some idea of what's coming. Can you describe
Mhm.
what you think this season will be in 3 words?
In 3 words. Jaw dropping. I'm going to count that as one word.
Yep, that's hyphenated.
Emotional. That is hyphenated. So jaw dropping, emotional, and I guess action packed because it's a lot, and I feel I feel like nobody is going to be spared. Everyone's going to be sucked in, no matter whether you are at the heart of it or whether you're on the peripheral. We're all getting dragged into the drama, and that that scares me. But I want to watch.
Yes, totally. I know we have a lot to prepare for and a lot of action to gear up for. Everybody pack your survival kits as we head into House of
Yes,
the Dragon season 3.
brace yourselves.
Kelly, thank you so much for chatting with me today. This
Maybe
was
say a
such
few
a wonderful
prayers to the
conversation.
seven, just
The old gods and the
yeah.
new.
We're gonna need all the help.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for chatting with me today. This was a wonderful conversation. I'm so excited to
Thank you
dive
for
into House of
having
Dragon.
me. Thank you. Thank you so much.